Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. I am Eli, and tonight I will be your host and Dungeon Master, and we'll be joined by Nikki, Sandy, and Jason as we continue our way through this campaign that I happily call Ojit's Tower. Last session, the group tried to wrap their heads around what had just happened with Deshard appearing and revealing himself to be the Originals agent, Delaminos, and disappearing, taking Vondraxilla and Turtank with him. The group decided to fall back and find Salty or Chenna to report the information about Fornalin. On their way back towards the Hazy Purple Tavern, they ran into a captain patrol. Attempting to deal with the patrol as quickly and quietly as possible, Thaevan missed a shot at a fleeing dockhand, who managed to raise the alarm, bringing significantly more reinforcements to their location. A desperate race for the party to try and escape the ever-tightening web of reinforcements led to a very clever combined use of Thaevan's Spike Growth spell and Ash's clever implementation of the Silent Image spell. Doubling back down an alleyway they started heading down, the four companions managed to break away from the captains completely unseen, with the continued aid of Ash's Silent Image. Ash, Gramps, and Thaevan fell back into a well-kept home, while Vonnir took a moment to listen to some of the captains talking. The information Vonnir overheard seemed to be somewhat important. His focus on the conversation so intent that he was completely caught by surprise as a large, muscular man, completely covered in chains, walked up the very street that Vonnir was watching. The man seemed to terrify the other captains, killing one of them outright and potentially killing another in cold blood. Vonnir heard more information about the woman Maynield. He also heard the name Durin, and that Durin is possibly someone who would know the location of Deshard, and by extension, possibly Fornalin, Turtank, and Vondraxilla. And with that, the field is yours. What do you all want to do? You are currently all standing around, with the exception of Vonnir, in the second floor of the merchant's home. I think actually that Gramps and Thaevan are possibly, or was it Gramps?
Ascending the stairs?
Yeah.
Behind one of the was looking at the bar.
Sandy, you need to get a lot closer to your transmitter.
And you also need to stop banging on your mic.
No, it's distortion because it's not connecting properly. It's just too far away.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Gramps was behind, looking behind a screen at a bathtub. I was at the top of the stairs.
Right. Yeah.
No,
But
he had moved on from there, Sandy. He was climbing the stairs
Yeah, I think
up
that's,
onto the roof.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was assumed that there was a breeze coming through. The staircase spiraled up and seemed to be heading to the roof, or at least somewhere outside. So yeah.
All right. I call Gramps back down, and I go down to Vonnir, and I say, Vonnir, what was all that about?
Well, Vonnir, if you remember rightly, he is still out on the street. Let me just grab that.
We don't know that the enemies have moved on either.
Don't know anything about that just yet. So, let me just.
So I'm just waiting for Vonnir.
Go back on that map.
Yeah, so that's basically where everything currently is. So Vonnir is still up the end of the alleyway, and the other three of you are currently inside the merchant's house. Yeah.
And these guys are about to go about their business now, right?
Yeah, so they're all heading off at the moment. That's pretty much where we left off. They've all...
Yep.
Whoops.
Yeah, and I'll start returning to the place I saw everyone duck in.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, you head on in, and yeah, it does appear to be a merchant's home, or at least that's how it's decorated. It's, you know, quite nice, but yeah, it's That's what
Can
you
I
see.
see the front door from the top of the stairs?
From the top of the stairs, you wouldn't be able to see the front door. The front door is kind of off. If you're looking from the stairs down, the front door is off to the right, so you wouldn't have vision of it from the top of the stairs.
Okay.
So yeah, Vonnir, you head on in. You see the ground floor. There's no one down there. Roll a quick perception check, because the second floor is timber floors. So see if you pick up the motion and footsteps upstairs. Which, with that roll of a 19, yeah, you definitely hear them moving around upstairs. So you know that someone is upstairs. And you know that your companions had head into this building, so there's a good chance that it's them.
Now I'll go up and see what mess they're causing.
Okay. So yeah, you get up onto the second floor, and there are two privacy screens. Gramps has pushed both of them aside. Or Gramps has pushed one aside, and I think Ash pushed the other one, or Thaevan pushed one of them.
Oh. Actually, before I would go up, the doors downstairs, is there any like tracks that you tell that we've come in here?
No, it's the place is pretty clean. It's there's no dust or anything like that on the floor. The street,
no mud on my boots. And,
no, the street itself is all cobblestones outside, and same with the alleyways. So you're pretty much safe as far as mud and that sort of thing. There's no real
just want to
easy
make sure
way.
the door's locked, then go up.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you lock the door and you head on up. And yeah, you're getting up the stairs, you reach the second floor. Looking around, you can see off to the left there is a bathtub that would have been kind of hidden behind the privacy screen. And then off to the right there is a open door leading to another set of stairs. I believe, Ash, you said you were waiting around on the second floor and called Gramps down. Gramps wouldn't have headed off. I think he would have waited around as well. So yeah, you'd find Gramps and Ash there. Looking out, you can see a large window that does look out over some roofs. So it does kind of give you a little bit of a view of a courtyard outside as well.
Okay.
Am I continuing to climb the stairs?
If you wish.
I wish.
Okay. So, is there anything you want to say to Ash and...
Yes.
Okay. Go.
Vonnir, what was all that about?
Where's Steven?
I'd point out that Ash wouldn't have any idea about any of that.
Yes,
Ash...
I do, because I sent a message asking
You
where
don't
we
know
were.
the... Yeah, but you don't know the content of
Yeah, and or numbers or anything like that. So it's just a
okay.
point of clarification.
Where
that's
were
all.
you? Where were you, Vonnir?
the conversation. Where's Steven? I think everyone should hear this.
Thaevan, come back down.
Do I see anything at the top of the stairs before I come down?
With your movement speed, I'd say yeah, you get up to the top of the stairs. You do see that there is a door. It's partially closed, but there is like a big brick that's kind of put there to stop the door from completely closing. You get the idea that they were probably using that stairway as a way of getting some fresh air into the room downstairs. But yeah, if you'd get to the top of the door, you'd have to open the door to actually have a look out. So
I open the door.
yeah, so looking out, it's kind of like a rooftop terrace, kind of a courtyard sort of a small sort of area. There's a couple of potted plants out there, nothing particularly big. But yeah, it does look out, and if you stand in the, if you look around, because you're fairly tall, looking around, you can just see sort of the ocean off above some of the roofs. So it does face out to the west. But yeah.
Are there any other buildings in close proximity?
Oh yeah,
I'd be able to jump from roof to roof.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. There are a lot of all of the buildings, or a lot of the buildings, are very close together in this sort of area. Many of them share walls, so yeah, it's definitely possible to move along the rooftops.
All right, I'll go back downstairs.
Okay. So you head on downstairs, and yeah, you find Ash and Gramps and Vonnir down there.
Has anyone found the residents to this building? I'm asking the party.
Never mind that. Vinny, what were you going to tell us that's really important?
How do you know it's important?
Because you told us that everybody should hear it. It sounds very important.
So what I heard, I wrote down. Not really. Anyways, mind if I just copy and paste this?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Ah! I just put it on the notes. Actually, need to be right back.
Right.
I need to get some meds.
Okay, so basically there's a few different people talking in this particular conversation, and Vonnir would outline what's going on with the conversation. But yeah, that's basically the contents of what he heard.
Who's this Durin?
Gramps sort of would nod along and go, I have no idea. I don't know why he sounds like throwing bear, but he does.
Ash, do you know who this is?
Who?
Durin.
I haven't heard the name before. Or can I do a history check to see whether I have heard the name before?
Yeah, you can roll it. That's fine.
Well, I also have a suggestion as to how we can get from to another area without being seen.
You have absolutely no idea. You've never heard the name in your life that you're aware of.
What about Maylind? Can I roll to see if I remember her?
Maynield? Yes, you do remember Maynield. Chenna had mentioned her as a potential person of interest, someone that you could potentially try and recruit to the miners. You do.
Was that lady at the Cunning Corvette?
That's the one.
Okay. Guys, Malin sounds like she's in trouble. Sorry, let me just finish reading this quickly. I'm super tired, by the way. I'm really sorry. I'm not going to be that great today.
She's she's already probably fled somewhere. We have no idea where she is, but
She owns the Cunning Corvette, so we can go check that out. But
that's completely pointless. If she was still there, that man that was looking for her would have already found her.
Which I'm guessing Vonnir would have recounted the large man with the chains having brutally murdered one of the captains in cold blood, potentially a second one.
Alright, well, should we just go look for Chenar and all them?
I was going to suggest that we climb across the roofs to get to another area before we proceed anywhere to kind of cover our tracks a little more.
Well, the
I think
problem
we
is
should,
there's a lot of
take
big
a rest, if
streets
any.
around.
And the rooftops are very easily seen.
I agree with the rest.
Like, I need to recover my spells as well as rest from all the wounds we've taken.
Alright, well, I've only been very slightly injured, so I'm happy to take first watch if you guys need to rest.
Has anyone seen the inhabitants of this house, or do you think maybe we could take refuge here?
The whole place looks abandoned. When we came in, like, everyone's doors was open and nobody looked like they were around. It was super quiet, so I reckon we're safe. They wouldn't
think we
have
should
left
at
the door open.
I think we should check out the place first, then.
Let's just have a quick look around.
We'll secure the place before we rest here.
Okay, so you're going right through this particular house.
Yeah, just going
Yeah.
through all the rooms and making
Okay.
sure there's no one here.
So yeah, you don't find anyone there at all. Roll me an investigation check. I'll let each of you roll because you're all rolling around doing the things.
Not my best. Hopefully I can roll well.
Which check are we doing?
Investigation.
Oh, 16.
I can't talk you into letting me do a survival check.
No, this isn't a survival sort of situation. You're not trying to track or anything like that. Okay.
Oh wow, 16, 20.
Yeah. Okay. So looking around, you don't find anyone around. You do find there is a looking out past the kitchen. There is a root cellar that's accessed from outside. It is currently closed and barred, but you do find the key for the shackle that keeps that one locked. Aside from that, you don't really find anything of particular interest. You find a few pieces of paper that have notes and letters on them that kind of imply that yes, the owners of the this particular house are indeed merchants, and it seems they are in the business of selling furniture. They don't appear to be making it, but they do appear to be a retailer of some variety. But yeah, no.
Can I rob the place? Did I find anything interesting?
So yeah, looking around, you don't really find anything of interest. There is nothing really there, unless you want to take the paintings off the wall, which, you know, there's a couple that are small that you could probably stuff in your pack.
Good.
But yeah, other than that, there's really not too much. It seems like the owners took everything that they deemed to be worthwhile.
What are the chances of me finding liquor in that cellar?
You don't know. You'd have to go and have a look.
I go and have a look.
Okay, so you're taking the key and unlocking it and heading down. You go in the root cellar. The root cellar is dark. It is still nighttime, so everything is dark. It's which I should have gotten you to roll with disadvantage on the investigation. No, actually, because you've all got dark vision. Never mind. So yeah, looking around, you do see that, like, there are some canned goods or rather jarred goods. There is a few bottles that you're not quite sure what is in them. They are corked and waxed, but there aren't any labels on them.
I uncork them and sniff them.
Okay, the first one you uncork is ammonia. So you get a good whiff of very strong smelling ammonia. The second one that you uncork smells like it would be olive oil. And yeah, you find another bottle that you go to uncork it, and there is actually nothing in there. It seems like the seal wasn't particularly good, and whatever was inside had evaporated, which would probably imply that it was some form of spirit. But yeah, the further looking around, you can see there is a keg, a very small keg of some variety in the back, and you get over to it and then pull the stopper on that, and it does smell like alcohol, but it smells pretty awful.
All right. I'm ready for bed.
Okay. So yeah, I'm guessing you're going back up into the house itself, and going to, pull up in a couple of the beds. Which there are 4 bedrooms, so there is plenty of space for you all to spread out.
I do have 2 swigs from my flask.
Okay, no worries. So Ash, can you roll me a perception check, please?
That's like my worst one.
Okay.
Oh god.
Yeah, so you don't really notice anything on your watch. Who's taking second watch?
I will.
Okay. I'll get you to roll a perception check as well. Okay.
Yes.
So, over your watch, nothing sort of disturbs the house you're in. You do, like moving around the house, being as quiet as you can, and kind of keeping away from the windows, but still looking out. You do see that there are plenty of captain's patrols moving around. It seems that they are still in the area, and do appear to be looking for you guys, but very half-heartedly. It's almost like at this point all of the dockhands that are looking for you guys in the area think you guys are long gone. So you get the feeling that as long as you just don't do anything reckless, you're probably pretty safe and secure.
I blow up the house. Joking.
So I'm guessing Gramps would probably take the third watch, the final watch of the night. And yeah, so he well, actually, no point sort of doing that. Let's do his roll. Perception. Alright, with a 16, yeah, he notices much of the same. Nothing really disturbing the house, but yeah, it does seem to be quite peaceful. You all get the effects of a long rest.
Isn't that meant to be 4 watches? Because each watch is 2 hours.
You can make it that if you want, but I was quite happy to let it go considering it was late, and at this point, like, the sun is coming up. It's probably just bordering on early for getting up, but yeah, you still get a long rest if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, as long as we get a long rest.
Okay. There is a button, I'm pretty sure. Where is it?
There it is.
There is a button I need to push. Automatically gives everyone the benefits of. There we go. Long rest. You get a long rest, and
Everybody gets a long rest.
you get a long rest. And you get a long rest. And I suppose you can get a long rest as well. There we go. Alright. So, yeah, at this point it is early morning. The sky looking outside is very dark. It's you can see that the light is coming in, but there is very dark, thick, heavy clouds filling the sky. There is the faint rumblings, so you get the feeling that there is a storm coming, but yeah, it hasn't quite reached Redwater, and the clouds haven't broken, and rain and all that sort of stuff hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I didn't call a storm yet.
It might actually be easier for us to go undetected if we travel during the storm.
I wonder if we could steal some of the captain's clothes or something.
Alright, I suggest we use my silent image and sneak along to the purple
Wait a
cabin.
minute. It's during the day, and even if you did cast your spell, why would we go to the tavern? It's already been a day. There's nothing at the tavern for us.
Well, we can just check if they're at the tavern or the bait shop. You
It's
never
very
know.
risky going out right now, and you want to go to a place that has very little benefit to us.
We're
Yeah.
better off going straight to the bait and tackle and trying to find Chenna.
Okay.
Maybe me and Gramps going in a large group would give us more chance of being detected for one. Plus, me and Gramps are the most sneaky.
Chenna's more familiar with me.
I think it's probably best that we stick together and just use the silent image. Have you got a spell that makes us quiet?
There's
Hello?
a spell for that. Pass without trace. But I don't know if Thaevan has it or not.
I do not.
Does anyone have silent? Or
Uh-huh.
silence? Or is that just a wizard spell?
I have silent, yeah.
What does
Then-
that do?
That,
Everything in a 20 foot radius doesn't make sound.
Let's do that then. Silent image combined with that.
So,
Silent
the
having-
problem with that is that no one would, anyone that enters the area would all of a sudden wouldn't be able to hear someone speak. It would
Yeah.
be pretty damn strange.
Also, I spent a bit of time reading through the description for silent image, and last session we probably were using it incorrectly. It does say, let me just bring it back up.
you can alter the image so that it appears to be walking, which means you can alter the
Yeah,
image.
so that's not the point I'm getting at. It is, no, that's silence. I didn't want that one. Hold on. Silent image. Alright, you create the image of an object, a creature, or some other visible phenomenon, not terrain.
But you can't make it terrain?
It's phenomenon. So something that is in motion, like a dust storm or something like that, you wouldn't be able to make it as a static image of the alleyway or something to that effect.
Well, another visible phenomenon
Yeah.
instead of invisible. Well, okay, then that whole time we made ourselves look like rats. Little rats.
No, that's
going.
again not quite how it works. You create the image, so it doesn't alter you. It doesn't alter how anyone sees you, but you create the image. It's an illusion.
House rules.
So yeah, no. Basically, the way I ruled it last session was incorrect. I am fixing it from this point on.
Alright, so could we possibly all the people that we've seen scurrying around, do they have uniforms? Like the dock hands?
They don't have like strict uniforms. They do have like a general state of dress, and most of them that you have seen do have like a insignia, like a small badge or something like that. They're not all exactly the same, but they have similar sort of motifs.
So could I then do a silent image that overlays our physique that has a likeness of a dockhand?
No, because again, it's not quite how that works. You're not able to completely mask yourself with it. You could create like an object, so an insignia that you could animate so that it sits on all of you in an appropriate place, but you wouldn't be able to hide or disguise yourself using the silent image spell.
But if you could make a little badge, then surely you could put it over someone.
You can okay, so what I'm saying is you can create an object, which it does clearly say you can create an object, and it can be a badge, and you can animate it so that it is moving along with you, but you're not able to create an image of a creature that is going to completely cover you guys without some interference, because there is the potential for discovery, as where is it? You use your action to cause the image to move, which is another point, so you'd only be able to create one of those, and physical interaction with the image reveals it to be an illusion. So even the way that you'd have to use for a badge, you'd have to have it like animated just in front. So it'd do for like a quick cursory glance at a distance, but if someone got up close enough, they'd go, hey, hold on, that's not actually touching you.
Okay.
Yeah, but you need an investigation check. You detect it, right?
Yeah, but you can, walking up, it's not directly on you, otherwise it would fail. You can investigate to determine if it is an illusion straight off the bat, but if you interact with it, like if you physically touch it, it reveals it to be an illusion. Basically, I'd rule it that touching the illusion would cause it to shimmer in a way that would give off that it is magic, and people would work out that it is indeed an illusion.
Yeah.
Let's just wait for the storm and move under the cover of the storm.
Alright, well, if that's what you guys want to do, I'll get you all to roll me a perception check.
I think you two should go by yourself still. Actually, no, that doesn't work. You guys don't have anything. Not many people can sneak in this party. God damn it!
Which roll were we doing?
A perception check. And Vonnir. And Gramps. Perception.
One. I haven't had one of those in a while.
No, last session you had all the not ones. Yeah. Gramps had all the ones. Alright, so Gramps, Ash, and Thaevan, especially Thaevan. While going about your business, you occasionally hear some loud booms or crashes coming from a great distance, in the general direction of the mine. at first you thought it sounded like thunder, but you realize that it's a little less like sounding like thunder and more like something crashing, something slamming into something else. And Thaevan, you hear occasionally carry across the air the occasional scream or shout, and very rarely, but the sound of steel. You're not quite sure exactly what it is, but that's what you hear. After, a few hours, it seems like the storm is, still not breaking.
Not breaking, you said?
Yeah, it doesn't. It seems like it's one of those days where the storm is still building in intensity, and the feeling of the air pressure is growing and growing. It's you know that a storm is coming, but you're not sure when it's going to land. But the longer it takes before it actually lands, the more ferocious it's going to be.
This is taking too long. I think we just need to move now.
It's still during the day. What are we going to do? We'll be immediately noticed, and then we'll just have another chase going on.
So you want to wait till night?
Unless you have another plan. I mean, if we go along the rooftop, just as bad. We're easily spotted. We have no idea where we want to go. The only thing we can do is find someone that knows where. What his name was?
Duran or Delaminos?
Yeah, Duran.
Right.
Is.
I guess we'll wait until either the storm or the nightfall, whichever comes first, and then head to the bait and
Alright, no worries.
Otherwise, we can maybe create the Duran guy. Oh no, I don't know how he looks like. Never mind.
Yep. Okay, so you guys are waiting around.
Like I was saying, we could try and capture someone.
And do what?
Interrogate. Like, we have no idea where they are. The only ones that would know are the captains. We don't know where any of our allies are. Like, we're kind of fucked at this point. We can't go around investigating ourselves because we currently don't know have a disguise. We're very distinguishable.
I suppose we can try and capture a captain and steal their clothes, I guess.
Thing is, we have to knock them out right away, for one.
What if we see if there's a wardrobe around here? I mean, one of these houses must have clothes that are similar to native people.
That's actually really a good idea. I do that.
Also, before we go out, I think Ash, you can try and sneak along the roads and see how the captains are patrolling around, and see how they interact with any pedestrians, so we know what they do when they ask to look at your credentials or whatever. We know what we need.
Alright, well, I can message you guys and, I can use my message spell to warn you of any danger ahead and watch you guys from the rooftop, if you want to do that.
No, I mean, like, we don't, if they question us, as to if we know any dwarves or whatever, if they start asking questions about us or want to steal some money from us, we need some excuse. We don't know what's going on outside. We need more information.
Well, we can say that Duran. No, we can just say that we're patrolling.
What he's asking you to do is go out and watch what other people are doing so we know how to.
Thank you.
Oh.
Because we don't have any captain uniforms at the moment. If we look around inside and find some normal clothes, that's great, but I don't think anything is gonna fit me for one. And also, we don't know how everyone's reacting to this. Is everyone else just staying inside? So if we go out in civilian clothes, I think we'll get a lot of questions if everyone else is inside and we're not.
Alright. I'll do that then.
Alright, so as you head up to the roof and take a bit of a look around, taking what you believe to be pretty good care to not be spotted, you look around and it doesn't appear like anyone is really out on the street. You can see individual dock hands that are moving along. And
On their own?
yeah, on their own. There are always, or at least from your first glance, it does always appear that there is another dockhand not that far away. Always kind of like keeping a lookout. But at this point, what it actually looks like is the dockhands are going through and kicking down each door, one at a time. And it seems like they are kind of looking through the residences in the rough area that you guys are currently in.
Can I see, are they on our street yet?
Yeah, so basically how this is at the moment, you're looking out across a few roofs into a courtyard sort of thing. It's like a common sort of walkway that gets to a bunch of different places. It looks like there is a little bit of time before those particular dockhands would get to where you guys are currently holed up. But it does appear that they are heading in your general direction.
Right. Looking around our area, is there any gaps in where the dockhands are?
From what you can see, because you have limited vision of what's happening down on ground level, there are a lot of awnings and things like that are getting in the way. The main thing that you have vision of is an open courtyard. So it is hard to really tell, but roll me a perception check, and we'll see if you can make anything out.
Wouldn't it be an investigation check?
Investigation, I'd say, is like being close enough that you can actually investigate. From looking at a distance, it's trying to see if you can perceive what's going on. With a nat 1, you can't really make anything out.
Alright, can I look at how the guys are acting?
They seem like they are a bit annoyed at having to do this. It's you get the sense that they've spent a good amount of time sort of just generally looking through this area, and have been told repeatedly, go back and look again. So it seems like they are annoyed, and they going through and literally kicking doors in, and walking in for a minute, 5 minutes before coming back out. You get the idea that they might not necessarily be the most thorough in their search, but they're being efficient enough that if they were to come into your into the place where you guys are all holed up, there is a good chance that you guys will be found.
Alright, I go back down to the others.
Do you tell us what you saw?
Yeah.
I suggest that we climb along the roofs and go into a house that's already been set.
I don't think that's a good idea. If anything, what we need is what's it called?
It will be hard to get
yellow.
anywhere that's that they can't see us, that they don't hear us.
Also, that's only gonna work for the short term. We need something that will work for long term.
We need to get out of here, and there's no way. The only way is if we find an underground sewerage area, which this is medieval
Let's
place.
talk
there's
about
no
a realistic plan,
plumbing.
okay?
So just as a point, oh, hold on, wrong button. Didn't mean to do that.
Do we have a better chance of getting to the cunning corvette instead of the bait and tackle?
So as it sits at the moment, looking at the map itself, the bait and tackle, to get to it, you would need to navigate. You would need to navigate across the open street, and then down a few alleyways through the docks district, or cross directly over. The bait and tackle is further away than the Hazy Purple Tavern. So it would stand to reason that if you were going to make a break across open terrain, doing so towards the Hazy Purple Tavern would be your best bet.
Let's do that then.
As far as the guards, as far as the dockhands go, they are heading from that direction towards you guys. They're, from what Ash could see, they're potentially maybe about 10 residences away. They are heading in your direction. You're not sure if there's any that are closer. She couldn't see. But yeah, that's what you guys currently see.
So, as far as she could tell, there's none in the other direction?
From the vantage point of being up on the roof, there is no way to see in the other direction. It only has view off towards the west.
I say our best bet is to head towards the Hazy Purple Tavern and hope that they're methodically working their way.
I don't think we should rely on luck.
Yeah,
We don't really have a choice, do we?
Yeah, have you got a better idea? Honestly,
I'd say we try and lure some captains into the
we
building.
don't have enough time. We gotta go now.
We can't. We can't
what?
even defeat captains. How the hell are we going to interrogate one?
I would also like to mention that underground sewers are definitely a thing.
Not that we know of, though.
Yeah, actually in this particular instance you would, because Turtank and Von Draxilla, when they first come back to you guys, come from the sewers.
Okay, I go back up and I look out the window, just take a sneaky peek out. Do I see any gutters or anything? Like,
So where you are, it is, as I said, very densely populated. You do remember that the sewers that they come through were opposite the Hazy Purple Tavern, which is, I'll just very roughly. Oops. It is roughly there. That is roughly where the sewer entrance that they come from was.
Let's head for that then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I reckon we go through the houses though and see if there's a door that will go to where that is. So so we don't have to go for long out onto the actual road.
Yep. Okay. So
walking a back door out. Walking a back door out the front door, so on and so forth.
Yep. And you
Yeah.
would remember that there were plenty of doorways on that right-hand side of the alleyway that you guys went up through. You guys went off to into the house you're in on the left-hand side. So it stands to reason that there is probably a good way of going through and doing just that.
All right.
We can
Once
do that
we're
then.
under there, guys, how are we gonna know which way to go though? We
Let's
might
just
get
get there
lost
for
under
now.
there. No. I think we need to find like a compass. Does anyone have a compass?
Ash, we need to just get out the path of these guys. Once they pass over us, then we can figure out which direction.
All right. What about magnets? Do we have magnets?
You're not gonna find a compass in this 10 minutes. We gotta go.
They're not that close. Like they're gonna be here like in a while, but like we can take the time to see if there's a compass or a magnet.
They're 10
around.
residents away.
It takes about
They're
2
not
to 5
thoroughly-
minutes per residence to go through.
Yeah, so we're better off moving now and figuring out which direction once we get there.
Okay. All right. I have my charm person spell ready for if we see
Alright.
anybody.
So
Pop up.
holding a spell works for like your action, but if you're holding it, you are going to cast it or lose it.
Actually, when you hold a spell, you already cast it.
That's what I'm getting at. So basically, you are casting the spell whether you use it or not. That's how it works.
The duration is counting down as well.
Yeah,
Okay, never mind. I'll leave it.
yeah,
I
So-
hold an arrow at the ready.
yeah. You can hold an attack infinitely, but holding a spell is you casting the spell. You're basically just holding on to that last word to release it.
All right. I say to the other three, like if we see someone, I'm gonna try and charm them so we can get some extra information and know what the hell's going on. But if we need to, we can take them out. We just need to keep them quiet. Vonnir, if we do see someone and they notice us, can you, as soon as possible, use your silence spell to shut them up?
Silence
'Cause-
only deafens the people within 20 feet radius. Sound does still pass through.
Okay. Hostile sound still goes out to other people.
Yep. So if you make sound in it, people outside of 20 feet will still be able to hear it.
Never mind then. Let's just go. And I'm looking for a compass on the way. Or
Okay.
magnets.
All right. Yeah, so you guys move on out and you very quickly find a door that leads off in the general direction that you believe the entrance to be. You move through. It appears to be a jeweler's residence. It doesn't look like anything of value is there again. There just is a lot of sketches of various jewelry and that sort of thing. Seems like it is the residence, but the workshop is somewhere else. Moving on through there and having a quick look around while you're moving on. Ash, roll me a investigation check with disadvantage. Because you're not being thorough. This is just to see what you come across.
How do I do it with disadvantage?
Down the
Just roll
bottom
twice.
left, you got the ADV and DIS buttons. Click the DIS and then roll it. Okay. Yeah, so you do find like a couple of bits and pieces, and you work out that if you had enough time, you could probably fashion together a compass, a working compass, but at the moment, the pieces that you would be using to make a compass are parts of other objects. So the
How
amount
big are the objects?
I was about to say that. Basically, they're too big to be able to strip apart or take with you in any reasonable time frame.
Even with the help of the other three?
Even with the help of the other three.
Okay, never mind.
Like you found a single magnet as you're walking past when part of like your part of your apogee sheath kind of got stuck to it for a moment, but it is part of like a much bigger thing. It's like almost kind of looks like a sarcophagus, almost sort of thing. So it's magnetic hematite sort of situation. There's the other bits and pieces you know you'd be able to find, but you just don't have the time, at least not based on your current understanding of what's going on.
All right. Can I find any needle-like things?
Yeah, so basically that roll found you the hematite, not having a chance to find anything else. So like that was kind of like the big thing that you found. You don't find any needles.
Okay.
So yeah, but you work through, and eventually, yeah, you get to a window that does, you believe, to face out towards the Hazy Purple Tavern, and by extension, the where the sewer is. Though I will point out, where you guys have actually come out is not quite directly in line with the sewer. It's more over to this side. So you would have to come out and then race around the corner to get to the sewer. But before we even get to that, as you look on out, you notice and all start to get an uneasy feeling. You all smell burnt hair and flesh intermingled with the acrid smell of chemical smoke. The buildings around the Hazy Purple Tavern, you quickly notice, are all alight and burning quite efficiently. The street is littered with bodies. Many are dockhands, some are first mates, and a handful of captains. You can see a few that don't look like any of the captains you have seen, but they appear to have been sighted with the captains. Unfortunately, it isn't just the captains that are laying dead. A large number of people, a few you recognize as patrons of the Hazy Purple Tavern, it appears that they came out fighting with whatever they could get their hands on. Broken tables and chairs are strewn about, many with crossbow bolts firmly embedded in their timbers. A number of cloaked individuals that surround Chenna are also littered amongst the dead. The Hazy Purple Tavern itself appears to have been the first building set alight. The alcohol-stained timbers and kegs, casks, barrels, and bottles of alcohol all must have aided in the total combustion of the tavern. The fire that ripped through it must have been that hot and fast that the only thing that is left is the blackened and smouldering husk of a building. The glass all having exploded out during the heat. Not far from where the door is, you can see the blackened body of a man with 3 burnt crossbow bolts sticking from his back. The unmistakable apron and rotund shape to the man tell you that this was the man you knew as the generous and friendly publican, Salty. Surveying the scene again, the pieces start to fall into place. You gather that many of the patrons died rushing to defend and protect Salty in his last moments, before the wholesale slaughter began. Chenna's men seem to have had an objective. However, what that might have been is difficult to determine. A solid look at the bodies as you move up and out of the window gives you the sense that they've all been picked clean. Everything metallic on their bodies is gone, including their belt buckles and shoe buckles, their various chains and ties. But looking around at the dark, cloud-dense sky and the skyline itself, you can see that many places are lit up by fire, smoke billowing into the sky in places. It seems that civil war has truly broken out. The miners' rebellion is in full swing.
Guys, we fucked up. Like, real bad. What do we do now?
Gramps looking around, he looks over in the general direction, and those booms and steel clashes that you heard earlier on are still going. They haven't stopped. So he looks over in the general direction of the mine, and he sees and relays, guys, there's a large amount of smoke and fire coming from over where the quarry yard attached to the mine is. There's lots of booms and I can hear some screams coming across the wind. Seems like there must be a lot of fighting over there. You can more clearly now hear the sounds of explosions, and those screams, they appear to be a lot louder and a lot clearer. And somewhere off in the distance you can hear the loud and hysterical singing. Some woman is singing a strange, almost nursery rhyme to someone, you assume. And you quickly get the feeling that being on the street is very dangerous.
So,
Guys,
sorry,
we need to take the sewers and get there now.
sorry, did I miss? Can we see what's going on with Chenna's place, or did you say something about?
Yeah, so basically the Hazy Purple Tavern has been razed. It is completely leveled. And you can see that the buildings around the Hazy Purple Tavern are completely alight, including Chenna's, bait and tackle. The place directly next to the Hazy Purple Tavern is on fire, and the fire appears to be attempting to leap across the road. And let me just I'll do this with a pen. So yeah, and basically this sort of area is threatened by fire at the moment. There are small fires on the buildings there, but they haven't taken complete hold yet.
Alright, well, in that case, I agree with Ash. We need to get to the sewers and try to get to the mine.
Okay, yeah, so basically all of that is currently burning. Okay, so you guys get into the mine and get into the sewers. And for the moment, it's actually quite easy. There is only one direction. It's currently heading west, so in towards the water. Vonnir, roll me an intelligence check with advantage, please.
Who, sorry?
Vonnir.
He just left.
Oh, did he? Oh, right, he did too. That's alright. I believe I can do it for him. Because
What do you mean he just left?
he said BRB. Intelligence. Might help if I go to the right one and go. Whoops. Actually, it might help if I hit advantage first. And let's see. Okay, with a 19, Vonnir would. I'm guessing he would relay this information. He says, "Well, this makes sense. Dump all the sewage out in the ocean, so of course all the sewage from this part of town is going to go that way. But it should link up with some other tunnels. That's what I'd do as a miner." So yeah, you get the idea that based on that, at some point down the sewer, it should link up with other tunnels coming from other parts of the town.
Alright guys, so the first right that comes up, I reckon we should take that.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, so you all trundle off down the way, and as you're going along, you come across various manhole covers, and you can occasionally hear boots stomping across the manhole covers, up the ladders, and that sort of thing. So it seems like there is definitely some activity happening above, but for the most part, you all seem to be pretty safe and secure where you currently are. No one's currently looking for you down there. You travel on down, and you get a reasonable way down, and then come to a large room The room has like a flow of water heading downstream off towards the west that you are currently following, and there appears to be another sewer tunnel heading off north, and another one heading south, and one further west. Inside the room itself, you can see the dead remains of a humanoid creature. It looks like it was possibly like a humanoid tabby cat. And looking around, you can kind of actually. I'll get everyone to roll me a survival check with advantage. Everyone.
Would you mind doing that for me? I'm just outside having a sleep.
Okay.
My +6 didn't get me far there.
All right.
So what am I rolling for?
You're rolling to see if you can make something out about this particular room. Did you hear what you had seen in there, Vonnir?
No, I have to get up real quick.
So basically, Vonnir. It's alright. I'd already rolled yours, Ash. So basically, as you were heading down the tunnels, Vonnir determined that it made sense that from where you currently were, that the only path would be heading west towards the ocean, because the sewage is going to get dumped out in the ocean, you assume, because you get a general sense of how tunnels work and that sort of thing, and you also determined that there should be a path that heads to the north of the town, and probably one that heads to the south of the town as well. So, and yeah, continuing on down the tunnel, you did indeed find a crossroads. Inside the crossroads, you found like a large amount of refuse and garbage. There are a bunch of cats around in the area, and you also find near to the center of the room a humanoid that looks like it was a kind of like a humanoid tabby cat, and with those rolls, Gramps, Vonnir, and Ash, the handiwork looks very familiar. This kind of looks like one of the results of Turtank butchering something in a fight. But looking around, you see this, and you can definitely tell that it is more than a few days old. It's not very recent. The cat's corpse is starting to bloat quite badly, and its eyes have been eaten out by the other cats that are just around in there, and it's looking pretty gruesome and gory.
This cat corpse, freaking Terra?
No, it's a humanoid. It is, more than a few days old. You've seen Turtank since this thing would have died. It looks like something that he's had a hand in killing. And you can also see a few scorch marks and various bits and pieces that probably indicate that Von Druxilla had her hand in on some of this particular carnage.
Fucking higher mania.
So so you get to this crossroads, and you do indeed find a tunnel that heads up towards north. And I'm guessing you guys are heading up that way?
Yes.
Okay. So you head along, and it takes you a little while, but you generally get the sense that you're heading in roughly the right direction. You follow it for quite a way, and then actually we'll be over about here. You end up finding your way out of the sewer. There is another exit. Let me grab the thing. Actually, need to adjust that. There we go. So yeah, you find another exit, and yeah, it comes out. It's basically the end of the road, and you find yourselves.
It's within Captain's territory.
It is just on the edge of the Captain's territory. Yes, indeed. I'll just move all you guys up so you can get an idea on what's going on. And all right, yeah. So you guys come on out, and looking over at the towards the mine and the foreman's office, you can see that everything is pretty different. So you can see around you that there is evidence of like open warfare and running battles. Even the buildings that are directly around you, and I'm gathering you guys are being very careful to not come completely out of the sewers and kind of keep yourselves covered as best as possible. But even from your current position, you can see that there are blood splatters and arrows and bolts, javelins and axes embedded into the various timbers and softer stonework of the buildings around you. You can also see like sections of some of the buildings have been completely collapsed by giant sections and giant cubes and hunks of quarried stone. It definitely looks like there has been open war right here. There's also plenty of fire consuming areas, and there's scorched sections of the earth, fire burning rampantly. You can see there are plenty of captains running around in your current area, not far from you, amassing forces, and you watch as you hear and see a giant section of quarried stone come flying from within the quarry itself. You can't see exactly what has sent it flying, but it's gone flying and slams into this building over here. And you can see it just collapses a section of it. Then over a bit closer to the foreman's office, you can see a group of scholarly looking individuals break ranks from the captain's line, stepping forward and starting to wave their arms in some kind of spell casting. You watch as a barrage of fireballs arc out towards the quarry, exploding, sending a minor shockwave towards you guys. You kind of feel it run over the top of you. And at this point, you also hear as the sky itself starts to open up. You hear the first rumblings of thunder and lightning, and you can clearly hear that there is battle happening in and around the quarry itself. The shattered remains of Stumpy's foreman's office is left burning and broken. Wholesale battle is definitely happening. Yeah.
Guys, we fucked up. We're not going to be able to survive whatever the hell's in there. I mean, we need to go in there, but we're screwed.
What are we gonna do once we're in there? There's no point of going in there.
The other option is to try and find the stairs while they're all distracted.
As you're saying this, you hear a voice quietly call out to you insistently from just outside of the entrance to the sewers. It says, "Oi, you lot mad? Get off the street, would ya? Get over here, hurry up! Before we get caught, hurry up, come on!" And
I follow the voice.
Thaevan and Vonnir clearly know that this is the voice of First Mate Davos.
I follow the voice.
Alright, so what about the rest of you? You guys all following? Okay, so you race up the exit to the entrance to the sewers, and Davos is standing there just inside a door and with the door held ajar, and waiting you all to hurry through. And then he quickly and silently walks across the room and up to a cupboard, pulling the cupboard aside, revealing a secret door. He walks through, ushering you all to follow, closing the cupboard behind you. You find yourselves in a storeroom with crates and barrels lining the walls and shelves of the large room. A pair of large wooden doors look like they exit the building. Davos quickly moves along, urging you all to follow as quickly and quietly as you can. Roll me a stealth check, everyone.
That's great at rolling. Oh, come on!
Seriously, I dropped a 17.
Wait, why are you rolling with just bandage? Oh, sorry, yeah.
She's wearing armor. He's wearing armor.
Ha!
Okay. You guys perfectly matched the DC. It was a group DC check. The DC being 40. He moves. He motions for you to all stay put and moves over to the side. You can hear someone talking out loud. Not too far away. Davos looks around the corner and then motions for you all to quickly follow across. He moves across the hallway and gets into a position. Once you're all around him, he moves a small crate from in front of a large stack of crates, and then grabs a hold of the edge of one of the crates. And pressing his finger in on a knot in the wood, then opens up the side of the crate like a door. He ushers you all in and then pulls the door closed behind him. Looking around, it is completely pitch black. You can't see anything, and it's difficult to see for you guys. Like, you've got dark vision, but you know the lack of color is quite distinct. And the sounds of battle have faded away, and Davos reaches up and grabs a hold of a curtain. It's kind of hidden in a little nook at the top of where the crate would be, and pulls it down behind you all. He then moves over towards you all at the top of the staircase and says, "Anyone got a light? It's fucking dark in here, and I don't know about you, but I'd rather not fall down the fucking stairs."
Alright, cast Produce Flame.
Okay, so with that he goes, "Oh, that's good. Yeah, haven't met you yet, but we'll get to that." And so he starts moving down the staircase, indicating you should all follow. And he says,
Before... oh, yeah.
"Yep."
Seeing him move, I'm like, wait, what about everybody out there? They're all dying. There's so many of our friends. They're all dying.
"Well, unless you want to go and join them, there's really nothing you can do."
What's happening? You need to tell us what's happening. I need to do something about it. I feel so useless.
It's civil war. It's, you know, the miners have started a rebellion. Like, I'm completely sympathetic, but, you know, there's really nothing we can do from this particular point. You know, there's waging into open warfare is not what's really going to be needed here, though. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's just get to the grove, okay? Just follow on.
Ash defeatedly, follows.
And he says, "Look, I'm glad I found you lot. I've been looking for you all since Captain Soyan heard about the ruckus over by the Merchant's Row." And he's continues to talk about bits and pieces, about specifically about what he's heard as far as what's happened, which is, you all very quickly tell, a lot less than what you guys know. But yeah, he keeps walking on down the staircase, and the staircase is pretty long, and it sometimes winds around, and you at times come across various doorways that are all closed and barred off to the left and right. And each one has a shape of some kind. It might be a triangle or a hexagon or a square or a rectangle. They all have different shapes painted on them with bright colors, brightly colored paint. But yeah, he continues to take you on down past all of these. And it takes you about 10 minutes of walking down these stairs. And you get to a landing, and a single small iron door is set in a very solid archway with some dwarven runes etched in the stone. I will very quickly put that into the chat. And that's what you all read. Well, that's what you all can
So
see.
if we don't understand it, we don't get the translation.
Yep.
Does Gramps know what it
Gramps
is?
does not know. No. So yeah, that's what you can see etched in the stone. And Davos looks at the group and taps on the etching and says, "Very important you get this right." Then he knocks on the door 3 times, waits a second, and knocks 3 more times. At that, the wall to the left of the doorway opens up a little, and Davos pushes it open, waving you all in to see the little opening widens into a vast underground chamber. It's at least 80 feet tall, and you guess about 500 feet in diameter. Hanging from the roof of the chamber is hundreds of hanging bits of brightly coloured sail cloth. All shapes and sizes. Everywhere you look, there is someone injured and filthy, with people running around trying to care for them all. Many of the bits of sail have got very crude images painted on them or stitched into them. You're not sure what exactly they would all be, but or why they would be there, but there are a lot of them, and sometimes the symbolism in them just makes absolutely no sense. You look around, there's always someone injured and filthy, people running around trying to care for them all. A wide variety of tents are set up with people of all different descriptions coming and going purposefully. The whole chamber looks like it's a bustling black market filled with people looking to trade in goods they probably shouldn't. But the obvious influx of refugees has definitely impacted the way that this place works.
Is there anyone we know? Anyone who looks familiar around?
Roll a perception check.
All of us?
If you're all looking around to see if you spot anyone.
Could I do an investigation since I'm close enough and I'm looking for...
Investigation is taking the time to kind of go through each individual thing. Perception is like taking in a large amount of information at once. So if you wanted to go through and ask individual people questions, I'd say, yeah, you could roll an investigation check. But if you're just trying to take in the information as you're walking past, it would be a perception check. So, with those rolls, you really don't see anyone that you recognize. And everyone around seems to be trying to make all of this chaos work calmly and efficiently. But looking around, there are definitely a few sour faces. Davos takes you through the market saying, "Stick close. It's chaos down here and keep your gems close by. Ain't too many that won't try and take it if they spot a chance." And he leads you along to a fairly small tent, about 15 foot wide by about 40 foot long, brightly coloured. And that's, just one of many tents. You've at this point gone past, probably 2-3 dozen, similar, sometimes bigger, sometimes smaller, but it takes you to this one. Now, Vonnir, you notice something, and I'm just going to pull you into another channel. So, what you notice straight away is the sailcloth that is above this tent has this symbol very crudely affixed to the roof. And seeing the symbol, you are flooded with memories of exploring the world with your sister. fighting anything and everything that threatened Dwarvenkin side by side with her. A carefree existence, joy and happiness. Even though you disapprove of her recklessness in battle, you accepted that as a blood maiden, a devout of healer Brightaxe, she was always going to be that way. And that suited you fine as a devout follower of Marthamore Duin, Volumtar, or blazes of fresh trails in your native tongue. The realization of who your god was brings tears of happiness to your eyes and down your cheeks. You remember the dwarven mines where you protected your sister from orcs and goblins, and she did the same for you. You remember being a touch slow to raise your shield once to protect her from a tiefling spear that nearly brought her low, but you remember this fondly, as she roared defiantly, channeling inner strength you hadn't seen in anyone, as she drove herself further onto the spear, before reaching back, snapping the point of the spear off, and then driving it into the tiefling's eye. You remember that ferocity, and you were proud of your sister then. Even though that spear nearly killed her, she surprised you, and that brought you joy. For just a fleeting moment, you remember that ferocity, and you know you have seen it in someone else. You know that Turtank has the same playful spark and zest for life as your sister, but you also realize that he has that same ferocity and inner fire. Confuses you as to why you would think of that. But there is something vaguely comforting about it. Your memories flit and wane. The image of the mace and tall boot dances across your vision as the outline of a purple and black static man walks through your mind's eye, chuckling. Well then, it would seem my dwarven friend has found a little more fire and life. Here, let me gift you this. You are growing nicely, Vonnir. There is much for you to remember before your time in my tower is done. Remember me when you leave my thrice touched by gods. You feel a slight tug at your neck, like someone has put a necklace around your neck. You know without looking at it that it is the symbol of Martha Morduin, the mace in front of a tall boot. There is much you don't remember about your god, but you feel as though Ojit has given you some kind of second chance. Your mind clears, and looking around you, you realize no time has passed at all, though your eyes are still damp with tears unfallen. Did you get that? Jason? Okay, so, I will quickly get Ash and Thaevan. Roll me a perception check.
Ash is just AFK.
Okay, I'll roll it for her.
No, I'm here. What's up?
Okay, roll me a perception check, please. As far as what that symbol was, you can see that is... Thaevan definitely sees it. It is a symbol, very crude symbol that is painted onto the bright blue flag, bright blue sailcloth hanging from above, from the ceiling above the tent that you were standing out front of. And Thaevan, you would also notice that Vonnir has, looks like he's got tears in his eyes. So Davos enters the tent, holding it open for you all to enter. Sitting at a simple desk is Chenna. The desk itself is covered in medical supplies, and Captain Soyan is busy tending to a nasty cut across Chenna's ribs. Chenna's usually cool and casual demeanour is still there, however it seems a bit more fragile as the captain stitches close the wound. Chenna nods to you all. It's pretty plain to see that he is focusing on the pain, and conversation might be hard. Captain Soyan glances over to you four and says, "Well then, the stowaways and their friends. Very good to see you two, and well met to the others. I am Captain Soyan. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm glad that First Mate Davos has managed to find you and bring you to this little sanctuary. Welcome to the grotto." Chenna interrupts through, though a cool and calm face, if gritted teeth. "So, Fornelin, did you find her?"
We fucked up. We fucked everything up. I'm sorry.
We tell him about the everything that happened with the shapeshifter, the doppelganger and all that.
Jenna sort of nods. Captain Soyan is still stitching up the nasty wound. He says, well, that is most unfortunate. I already know that some of my men haven't come back, but they were tasked to go and help Salty. Any word from there?
With a somber voice, I express what we saw out on the...
I get teary.
With that, you see Chenna dip his head. He seems uncertain, like he doesn't know what to say or how to act. And as he looks up, you can clearly see that his eyes are a little bit misty, but a tear doesn't actually fall. He goes, well, that is most unfortunate. Is there anything else that you can report?
Bonnie, tell him about what you heard about Duran getting Mayland.
Then explain what happened.
Alright, so as you mentioned that, you visibly, because Davos is kind of behind and slightly off to the side, you get the feeling that Davos stiffens a little bit, and Captain Soyan looks up from stitching Chenna back together, and he says, well, this is very dire news. The mad dog of the captain's ranks, Holt, for that is who you're talking about, the man with the chains. He's far more intent on murdering anyone that he perceives to be less than 100% committed to the captain's cause. And to be completely honest, I don't believe he is human. Durian is arguably less of a threat, but he's far more cunning, and is not one you should underestimate. Davos sort of remarks, he goes, by Umberlee's asshole, if Holt and Durian are in the fray, the higher-ups must really want to make an example of this rebellion. We've all seen Holt kill underlings with those chains of his, but Durian scares me land legs wobbly, he does. I watched him keelhaul 15 people in one day, including a couple of his superiors at the time. Created a watertight case for every one of them. What got him his rank? But don't you doubt for a second, most of that evidence had to have been made up. Scary what he can do with just his mind and words. And Soyan nods and says, well, Davos is a little unrefined in his approach. He is 100% truthful in his recount of how serious of a situation we find ourselves in. Chenna holds up his hand for Soyan to stop tending to him for a moment, and says, here is what's currently happening. The mines are completely cut off. I was wounded trying to sneak back in. Don't bother trying yourselves. It's suicide until we find a way to lessen the captain's offensive power. Asul is currently looking into the High Captain Miramar. Crank and Lever are both looking to see if there's a way to disrupt the enemy via the High First Mate Nichols. If we can disrupt the distribution of magic, or affect the Navigator's organization by interfering with the High Navigator generic, we might be able to slow the attack on the mine. To that end, you've got some options. You can find Fornelin and bring it back in. That might open up some more paths. Plus, it returns a valuable agent to our ranks. Durian sounds like he knows where Delaminos is. You might be able to get that information from him, or follow him. Or you could take another look at the individuals that Delaminos surrounds himself with. There might be clues as to where you can find him. Other than that, you could maybe break their magical supply advantage. Maynhild, the former High Navigator, is my suggestion. If we get her to jump ship, then, as I said in the mine, we gain a valuable ally and starve them the item supply to the captain's front lines. You might
What
be
was
able
that name?
Maynhild.
If we find Maynhild, yeah.
Yeah. We gain a valuable ally and starve them the item supply to the captain's front lines. You might be able to use High Navigator Generic as the carrot to get her over. Thirdly, you could go after the supply lines. Not everyone down here has in the grot is aligned to one side or another. Many won't have a problem selling to the quartermaster or their representatives, which means they are likely to share information if the price is lucrative enough. Soyan nods in agreement.
Sorry, what was that last bit? I'm trying to type.
That's okay. Thirdly, you could go after the supply lines. Not everyone down here in the grot is aligned to one side or another. Many won't have any problems selling to the quartermaster or their representatives, which means that they are likely to share information if the price is lucrative enough. Soyan nods in agreement. Whether you realize it or not, you've all started to build a reputation. The current understanding in the captain's ranks puts your group as responsible for killing the former quartermaster Homage, a rather intense elven lass who wielded poisons and a war scythe. The new quartermaster, Ysilda, was openly Jurian's lover, and for quite some time, although it's rumoured that she was also Homage's secret lover, which gives credence to the rumour. What gives credence to the rumour is that anyone that Ysilda catches spreading it mysteriously changes their stance on it very quickly. After Ysilda approaches them, as persuasive as she is, subtlety does not seem to be a strong suit. Davos chuckles and says, "No, there's nothing that woman hides. She's all out there with her plots." Davos motioning with his hands that she has possibly got a large set of breasts. Chenna leans forward intently. "If you can deal with Ysilda and the quartermen in some way, then we might be able to divert their supplies to the miners." Chenna pauses for a moment, seeming to weigh his words carefully. "Even though your actions have sped up the common folk's need for revolution, and you lot haven't been efficient at..." Soyan puts his hand firmly on Chenna's shoulder. "Enough, Chenna." Chenna pushes the hand away and continues. "Anything you set out to do. The common folk have latched on to you all to some degree and hold you as an inspiration. You do well to encourage that. It will help with morale. Maybe come up with some name for yourselves to help the freedom fighters rally behind you all. I think it's ridiculous, but it does work." Davos animatedly exclaims, "Redwater revolutionaries to save the day! Ha ha! Yeah, I can see the rank and file cheering to something like that." Chenna shakes his head, muttering to himself, "Please don't let that be the name they pick." 3 of Chenna's cloaked men and 2 of the sailors from Captain Soyan's ship come running in at the same time. Jurian's bookkeepers are moving in the grotto. "They're looking up for these 4. They all exclaim urgently, pointing to you all. All eyes turn to you 4.
Okay, so we can either find Franelin, which we don't have information of where she might be. Duran may know where Delaminos is, and we can follow him to find out, but that's going to be for when everybody is back. Although we need a... Yes. No. Okay, we can break the magical supply by finding Malin, but again, we don't have info. We can try and get information by the people down here. We can try and buy some info. And the last one is about the new quartermaster, Ysilda. Might be Omash's secret lover, which can help do something or other.
Okay, so going through it all one step at a time, you could go after Fornelin, who has still got that information concerning the items that Isil mentioned. You later on discovered the compass and the sextant that Deshard is looking for.
But she wrote down that she doesn't have it.
No, the handwriting looked like Deshard's writing. So it
and
was...
who's Deshard again?
Deshard is Dos Delaminos. Revealed that he is
yeah.
Deshard. You currently know that Isil is currently looking into the High Captain Miramar, which, when asked, Soyan would, give that information freely, that High Captain Miramar is effectively the leader of all of the captains, and by extension the ruler of Redwater. And Crank and Lever are both looking to see if there is a way to disrupt the enemy via the High First Mate Nokuls, which Nokuls, being the High First Mate, is effectively the de facto leader and representative for all First Mates. And Channa says you can disrupt the distribution of magic or affect the Navigator's organization by interfering with the High Navigator Generic, which...
With Maneld.
Yeah, that's your current understanding. Going through and finding Manield would be one very effective way of doing that. He does say that finding Manield and using Generic as a target may be enough to get her to change sides.
Who's Generac?
Generac is the current High Navigator, which you do know that Maynhild was spurned by the captains and has reason to potentially defect, but the reason why she doesn't, just openly, is because she's pragmatic and won't do anything if she doesn't see a benefit in it for herself. So that Chenna saying that Generic might be a way of getting her to jump ship gives you the sense that there is probably some bad blood between Generic and Maynhild.
I think she might be our best bet trying to find her. Just, that's my opinion.
Yeah, because everybody else is working on the other things.
So,
we need to find her and Franelin, but I feel like if we find her now, then we can at least stop what's going on in the mines and give everyone a bit of an advantage, and then get back on track by taking down Delaminos, by having this compass in the sextant, because I feel like that's also very important.
Yeah, so the other options you have is looking into Durian, but you know from what Soyan has said that he is very intelligent and is very cunning. So it'll probably take you a bit of research to work out where he is, and a careful planning to be able to deal with him. How you go about it is up to you, but it is implied that Durian possibly knows where you could find Delaminos or Deshard, which by extension will hopefully lead you to Fornalin and also to Turtank and Von Druxilla.
Was Crank and Lever trying to find Maylind as well?
No, Crank and Lever are currently looking to see if there's a way to disrupt the High First Mate Nokuls. That's currently what they're doing. You're not sure why, but that's what they're up to, according to Channa anyway. As far as finding where Delaminos is, you could go through and try and find Durian, or you might be able to get more information from some of Delaminos' grunts, if you find some of them, and you might be able to get information from them or discover clues as to where they might be hiding or coming from. So there's that. There is the break the magical supply advantage through main yield, which will also help potentially eliminate the... let's see...
Sorry, I know my spelling's going to be.
No, that's
all
fine.
over the
I
place,
can work my
but-
way through it. That's fine. Okay.
And that's public for the other two as well, isn't it?
Yeah, should be.
Can you guys see it?
What I'll get you to do is, rather than creating a new entry for every thing, just leave it as Sandy's notes, and then underneath put it in individual dates, because otherwise my notes folder is going to be kind of spastic.
That makes sense.
Yep, you could potentially
So
find
going
information
after
for money, for gems. That is quite possible. You know what? I will fix these two names because I know they are going to potentially give you grief.
I think we need to try and find Manilde.
Yeah, I reckon we have to see what everyone knows around here, and then try and find her.
Yeah, definitely.
That'll at least fix things and give people hope again, because I feel terrible.
Is this maybe a natural place to break off rather than at 10, or?
Yes, so that's basically what I was going to say. Basically, all eyes are currently on you because they've revealed that the Durian's bookkeepers are moving into the grotto and they're looking for you four. You do have a couple of minutes if you want to ask questions or anything like that. But
Sorry, a durian's what?
Durian's bookkeepers, which during this whole sort of interaction as everything's being given out, Soyan would be giving you a little bit of a breakdown on the ranks. And he defines that the dockhands are the rank and file of the captains. They're numerous, but mostly deadly only in numbers. The first mates, Davos would give you this information. He says they're mostly a diverse bunch, often showing more ability than simply being grunts. And, we've often got a couple of tricks up our sleeves. Waggle our fingers a little bit here and there. The navigators are adept at spellcasting and mostly have spells that are useful to navigating the ocean and controlling the battlefield. But some of the navigators are more inclined for war than navigation. So it's something to keep in mind. Captains themselves are skilled at getting in and out of combat and are generally taciturn. Many of them are very intelligent and can plan out and plot things. Some, however, are just dumb brutes that got to their rank via, holding it over people. You've got the bookkeepers, which generally sly and are skilled at rooting out members of the captains who undermine or subvert the captain's order. Soyan mentions that they're basically inquisitors. Most of the captains kind of fear the bookkeepers. You've got the anchormen. The anchormen are the enforcers of captain's law. They're trained to capture and subdue their enemies. And you know now that that Holt, which is the large man that was covered in chains that you saw earlier on, is the anchor master. He's the leader of that particular division, and he's very, very brutal. You've got the quarterman, which is currently run by the new quartermaster, Ysilda. The quartermen are in charge of distribution of general supplies and equipment, and they facilitate the creation of new equipment, and unofficially they're in charge of land-based operations, including the mines and land-based trades. Soyan, when he mentioned that you guys had killed the previous quartermaster, and it was believed that you guys had killed the previous quartermaster, Homage, says that Ysilda had been promoted to the rank of quartermaster, and did mention that it was formerly the lover of Durian and the secretive lover of Homage. Soyan also mentions that Ysilda styles herself as a lover, not a fighter. However, she employs her charm and potions to help her in a fight. He outlines that each one of the specialists have masters, which are Ysilda being the quartermaster, Holt being the anchor master, and During being the bookmaster, or the arch scribe, as he's often called. And generally they rule their divisions with an iron fist and are generally feared by their lessers. In the case of Ysilda, she's less feared than the previous quartermaster, Homage. However, she is still someone to be approached with caution. Then he also tells you about the High First Mate. He says the High First Mate is the title given to the first mate of the captain's flagship. The flagship of the captain's is called Woe Tide. The High First Mate reports directly to the captains and holds equal power to the captain's organization as the High Navigator. He does say, however, that there are some in the captains that think the High First Mate is less important than some of the other masters. Almost kind of like the High First Mate's a bit of a joke role. There's the High Navigator, which is Generic. The High Navigator is the title given to the navigator of the captain's flagship, Woetide. The High Navigator reports directly to the High Captain and holds equal power in the captain's organization to the High First Mate. The current High Navigator is, he does say, is very shrewd and manipulated his way into his position. He doesn't go into any more detail than that about Generic. The High Captain, he tells you, is Miramar. And the High Captain is the single person in charge of the whole captain's organization and by extension ruler of Redwater. The current High Captain is a callous woman. She has flaming red hair and goes by the name of Miramar. He can't really tell you too much more than that. He doesn't know.
Does he have any information about Maylind, where she might be?
Maynield.
Maynield, yeah.
He doesn't have any information. He basically points you to head towards the Cunning Corvette. He says if she's not there, then maybe you might find some clues as to where she might be.
Cunning Corvette, alright. Maybe we'll pay off some people around here, see what they know, and then head to Cunning Corvette.
Yeah, so again, I'd like to reiterate that those 5 people, 3 of Chenna's cloaked men and 2 of the sailors from Captain Soyan's ship, are all saying that Durian's bookkeepers are moving into the grotto. They're basically saying that Durian's bookkeepers are here looking for you guys, and they're at the entrance. It's up to you guys what you want to do, but that's the information, just as long as you understand that.
Alright, and they don't know anything about where Faunalin might be, they don't know where...
You've got all the information that they know. They're hoping that you would have more information about her.
Yeah, okay. So we've told them about the sextant and the compass. Did they react at that at all?
Yeah, so Chenna would have looked up at that information, would have looked up at Captain Soyan, and Captain Soyan would have just shaken his head and slightly shrugged, like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But Davos says, yeah, there's a bit of a rumor that, you know, that's what the captains are using to navigate their way to the stairs and get out, but, you know, just a rumor. Other than that, Chenna and Soyan have no information about it. Chenna seems happy to know at least what the items are, but having no point of reference, and the fact that he is so cool and collected for the most part, he's not going to react to something that he doesn't have anything to really weigh in on.
Okay. Alright, does anyone else want to ask anything?
I want to know how detailed these rumors are about navigating the stairs.
I don't think that matters right now.
Well, Davos does say that it's something that he overheard in one of the dock bars from someone that apparently was working on the Woe Tide, the flagship, but it's hard to say for sure because this particular person is prone to exaggeration. What about Vonnir? Has Vonnir got any questions? Vonnir?
Nah, I'm good.
No. Okay.
Have you
well-
read through my notes, Jason?
So, I guess with that, unless anyone else has anything, we'll leave it at that point, and that's where we'll start off
I
next
just
Friday.
lost all my notes.
No, they're still there.
Oh, can you copy and paste it for me? Because on my side, it's gone.
It's all there.
It's on my side, it's gone. Is
I
there
just dropped it
anything-
in the chat window.
Yeah, it's all gone because I accidentally deleted it.
Okay. Have you tried Control Z?
Yeah, that doesn't do anything. Can you just... Is there any chance to copy and paste?
Try there.
No, because I've edited it on my end, so it's not going to change on your end because it's my notes.
Yeah, I am currently in your notes and I have reposted it, so it should be showing you exactly what is on my screen because at this point it is my note, effectively. But if not, it's still here. I will deal with that in a little bit, but
You can unpad it so it's not read-only. Currently it's got a lock on it.
it's currently unlocked. I'm looking at it, it is unlocked.
Sorry, I just grabbed it and that happened.
Yeah, see where the O is at the very end? I was just trying to correct a spelling and
Our
then...
connection lost. I wonder if you can actually drag these nodes into your own node. Weird.
Probably.
That would be handy.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if I can.
Yeah, so I guess with that, we will leave it here and we will catch up with you all next session. See you all then.
Don't forget to smash that like button, and while you're down there, leave us a comment and subscribe.
Lion?
Don't forget to hit that bell button.
Yep, do that one.